his feet off the leg rest.
Right, take your feet off the leg rest. Okay, so, he can, he's gotta get one, then he's gotta get the other one off. And because he's sitting far enough to the front of the chair, he'll probably be able to use two hands to pick it up and lean back. If he weren't, or if he were less, less physically fit, he might have to hold on with one hand onto the parallel bars. You don't wanna have him reaching, hooking around the push handles because it's gonna get in the way. But since he has the parallel bars, he could always have one hand on the bars and, take the other leg off. Okay, now we gotta swing the foot pedals out of the way. And, what's next, Christine?
He's gotta lock
To lock his knees. So, Gary, how does he lock his knees?
He extends his knees and then he locks it
Okay, but he doesn't have any quads, so,
with his hands.
what?
With his hand.
Okay, so use your hand and bring his leg all the way out, and then push down here, and use your other hand to drop the box, and then push this one out, the other hand drops the box. Okay, so now his knees are locked, his feet are locked in dorsiflexion because the plantarflexion stop, and so my instruction to him is what, Nancy? His knees are locked, his hips are unlocked, what's my instruction? What's he have to do?
lock his head.
What?
Unlock his
I can't hear you.
unlock? I don't know.
Well, logically, what does he have to do? He has to lean way forward, as far forward as he can, so he's gotta take hold of the bars as far forward as he can. And then, Justine, what am I gonna ask him to do?
He's gonna bring his head up and back and not throw his hips forward, but bring his hips forward to lock
Okay,
them in his
but
hips.
what's gonna get him up?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so bring his head up and back while he's sitting is gonna have to sit back in the chair. So now what he has to do is tuck his chin actually down, pull himself up to standing, and as soon as his weight is on his feet, then he has to tilt his head back a little bit. So, and remember, at this point, I've already told him that you have to stand with your hips forward, with your back way arched, in order to stay stable, okay? So, what I have to do is I have to be there to make sure that he pulls himself all the way up, because if he only pulls halfway up, he's gonna be in this position, okay, like that. That's not gonna work. So, if he has a pelvic band and it's closed, okay, what I can do is I can take a hold of the pelvic band in the front. If he happens to not have a pelvic band on his braces, then I have to take a hold from behind. So what I need to do is, what I need to do is take a very, very wide stance, because I have to lean forward here to take a hold around him, and then as he comes up, I have to be able to step way out of the way, okay? So, whenever you're ready, you're gonna tuck your chin, pull yourself up, okay, and then I can help him get his hips forward, okay? So, I can have one hand on the bars to steady myself, that's fine, okay? If you're not sure if you're gonna fly backwards, okay? Now, can you just sit back down for a minute? Regular sitting? Okay. Now, this is the mistake that most beginners make. lock your hips. And he's not in position to lock his hips. I say, come on, lock your hips. Lock
I'm
your
trying, I
hips.
can't, it don't
Yeah.
work.
Okay, and what happens is, what has to happen?
You have to
These
remove
are
out
lumbar
the
braces.
He has to be here to lock his hips. So, I'm telling you that because this is a very, very, very common error that students make on practicals, okay? And so, you're not gonna make that mistake if you get this problem, okay? So he's in this position, okay? Now, I want you to shift your weight onto your left side and keep your back arched and lock your hips. And shift your weight onto the right side, your back arch, lock your hips. Now at least he's more stable. He can still jackknife over the locked hips, so he can go into a lumbar flexion, but at least he's not gonna collapse totally, okay? And at this point, I'm gonna go behind you now. So you hold on tight to the bars and keep your head back. So I like to be behind the person when I'm teaching him what to do. And at this point, I would, because I can hold on to the pelvic band from behind, and you can just hold on. Be sure that when you're moving, you're not pulling him, even inadvertently, okay? So then you can go through all of the exercises that we did in the parallel bars, and those are listed for you. Most of the exercises are listed for you in the handout. And then you're gonna go right into a drag toward gait. So you've talked to him about what the drag toward gait is. So move here. So we've done all of the pre-gait activities. So when he's in the parallel bars, okay, you're gonna put your hands down there, put your weight on your hands, and then don't look down, just drag your legs toward, right. And so I can be guarding any which way, because I know that he is stable with his arms. I just have to make sure that he doesn't look down too much, because then if he looks down, he's going to fall backwards, okay? So we
They
go.
always look back, and they always look to see what the person, if they're being instructed, they wanna look at,
Yeah.
it's a common practice, we look at whoever is talking.
That's true. So what happens is, looking back or turning your head, that's gonna throw everything off. So you can tell your person, just listen to me, don't look at me. Before this, you might have demonstrated what you want them to do, okay? So go drag towards the end. You don't have to worry too much about, where your hand placement is at all. Okay, now for the turn, you're gonna put one hand a little bit further back, and one hand further forward. Do a push-up and look to your right. Okay. Push-up, look to your right. Okay, switch your hands. And then I'm gonna sneak around behind him, okay? And then turn, yeah. Right. Okay, and all I'm doing is I'm making sure that his hips are not jackknifing. I have my hands around his hips, that's all. Okay, and so go forward. Okay, and go forward again. Okay, and one more little one forward. Okay, and now you're gonna turn. And this time I'm not gonna turn with him. Okay? So, turn either way, to left or right, whichever you like. And I just like to keep my hands here. Now what I need to do is I need to see if he's in the right place, because if he's too close, then his knees will hit the front of the chair. The chair will tilt backwards slightly. If he's too far away, not enough of him will be on the chair, okay? So, this is probably, go back one little step. And so what we're gonna do from here then is unlock one hip at a time, so shift your weight to one side. Okay, and then shift to the other side and keep your head back, okay? Now, this is much more precarious now, okay? So what you can do is keep your head back and reach your arms way, way back, far back as you can go. And then, you're gonna, now here I have to be careful that when he comes down, that I don't get kicked, okay? Because his legs are gonna come up. So I have to keep my distance, okay? So you're gonna tuck, and I'm holding on to his pelvic band, okay? Tuck and sit, okay? So if I'm right here between the legs, that's perfect, okay? And then, just come forward to the edge of the chair. Okay, push down on the knees and unlock. And then, yeah, bend them, and then you get back. So the most important part of this whole thing is when that person gets up, stay the heck out of the way, okay? So that their weight is totally on the balls of their feet and they can do this, okay? If you're too close, they're never gonna get this far. And if you find yourself saying, lock your hips, and the person keeps doing this, it's because you don't have them far enough into extension.